There I am.
There we go. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, how
What's
are
going on?
you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing this through my lunch break.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, no worries. We'll motor right through it. Where are you located?
in Middle Tennessee.
Okay, excellent. Well, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute. I'm coming out of Kansas City. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So,
Never been there.
oh yeah. It's surprising here. People tend to like it here quite a bit. Um, I want to begin the conversation here with you with what we lived through for the last 3.5 years with the pandemic. How did you get through it, and how did it change you?
The pandemic, it was a fearful time for all of our, everybody around, not just the United States, but all over. And I saw a lot of my friends being very fearful, which, any disease, virus, or anything, you should proceed with caution. But I relied on God, and he's the author of peace, not fear. And so, I was careful. But I still went to church. People, some of my family even, was like, I ain't going to church. I might get it. But I believe that God gave us an immune system, and our immune system, He uses our immune system to protect us from things like that.
Yeah.
And this is what I talk about in my book. Um, it keeps going away.
Yeah, it's coming in and out. Yes. There we go.
Okay. Okay,
Perfect.
right there.
Yeah.
And that's what I talk about, in my book, Divine Promises. Um, the promises that he, guarantees us. And, like the promise of peace, the promise of protection, in the promise of protection, I used that a lot during COVID. The 3 years, 3.5 years, whatever it's been. And I did get COVID, but it was on the tail end of it. And it was very mild. It was basically like I felt like I had the flu.
Yeah.
And I was just out of work, for a couple of days, and then I was fine. I went back to work.
Yeah.
But, you know, anytime that something like that is going on, you know, we panic. Us as humans, we're gonna panic. Like my parents, they're older, and my mom, she still is very fearful. But I try not to be, not to say that I wasn't during that time, but I've tried my best not to be. And I think that is one of the reasons that God wanted me to write this book about his promises.
So let's get to the essence of exactly what you do for a living. If I put you in front of a bunch of third graders at a career day, and one of the kids looked up and said, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How would you answer that child?
I would say I am an author first, and then my second job, I work at a healthcare company in the financial returns department.
So let's go back to the beginnings of your life for how you got to this point. Where were you born and raised, and what were the seeds that were put into you to want to write and to want to help people and to give to people?
I was born and raised in Middle Tennessee, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and we lived on a farm growing up. I had cows, I had horses, I got chased by goats. That's why I cannot stand goats now as an adult.
Huh.
But we lived on the farm. We had the septic tank, everything. And my mom and dad planted a garden. And I, my dad was always a reader. He loved reading books. He still does. And I got that from him.
Yeah.
Because growing up, that's all I did. I would read books. Nancy Drew, that was what I read growing up as a child. Um, and I also started, I would write little stories. I would make up stories in my head and just, write them out. And, I would go up in the barn loft that we had, and just the hay and the cows, and God overhead. And I think, thinking back, I think God was directing me to be an author now from what I did years ago. And I guess about 2 years ago, he told me that I needed to um, tell my testimony, which I've got it, it's in the book, and I've got a testimony of faith. And so that started the whole process. I went to California to a retreat to learn just the basics of how to write a book, because I had no idea. And I kept telling God, it's like, I don't know how to write a book. And and he's like, well, I'll you know provide you a way, to learn, and which he did. And then I came back, and this is my second book.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I published that one on Amazon. I self-published that one. This one I have a publisher. And I mean, I'm enjoying it. I mean, I'm working on my third book right now. And so I mean, it's like a dream come true, because for a child that read books all the time, and you could just disappear into another world with books, and for me to be able to write, to possibly encourage and help someone, that is a dream of mine, because I've always, even as a child, I've always wanted to help people.
So, who's been kind of a hero or an influence, inspiration for you in your life?
I guess I mean, I lean on God a lot, but humanly, I guess that would have to be my dad. Um and my mom too, but probably my dad. He's the one, that taught me, about reading, and, some of the, authors that I can't remember, but some of the authors that he liked. And so I guess it would have to be my dad.
So, if you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now that you would consider an influence or positive, who would you love to meet and talk to?
Um, I would have to say I would like to talk to President Trump. But not aside from, the government and stuff. I would say that it would probably be Karen Kingsbury, because that is a book series that every time a book comes out, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would like to know her process, as how she became an author, and and things that she goes through when she's writing.
So obviously she has a high level of motivation. What is that motivation for you? What is it that gets you out of bed every day? What is it that gets you to want to write, to help people and to be who you are?
I've always it's been inside of me. I've always had this desire to help others, and I think that comes from God instilling that inside of me. But what gets me out of bed every morning is I am next month I will be cancer free 15 years.
Wonderful.
So, and that's in my book. And so I what gets me out of bed is I'm thankful for every day that I can wake up and, be able to function, and not, right now, as far as I know, I'm healthy. I don't have any problems. But that's what gets me out of bed. And then as far as writing, I mean, I get an inspiration just being outside. We just got back from the mountains, and there was a lot of inspiration in the mountains, and that got me started a little bit on my third book. But I mean, I just get inspiration from, God just gives me inspiration from, my surroundings, basically.
So what's been one of the best responses or letters you've gotten about your books?
I've read the reviews, and a lot of them say that it has been very encouraging, and helpful, and just basically stuff like that.
Excellent. So, of all of the things that you've done so far in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Becoming an author.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and you ran into a much younger version of yourself, say senior in high school, early 20s, something like that, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've led, the wisdom you've gained, what advice would you give your younger self?
When I was younger, I was very shy. In high school, I was very shy. And unless I really knew you very good, I would not, I would be friendly, of course, say hi, good morning, but I wouldn't carry on the conversation. Like what we're doing right now. And when I was in high school, I wouldn't dare be doing this,
Yeah.
which I don't think we might not have been Zooming every time you turn around back then either.
Yeah.
But I, I think the thing that I would tell my younger self is to have confidence in yourself and stand up for what you believe in.
So if you could see one event in human history with your own eyes, anything that's happened, what would you love to have seen with your own eyes?
I would love to see peace in the world.
Yeah. Do you think we're heading towards it?
Possibly this war with Israel, I'm not sure where it's going.
Yeah.
Um, I do know that God says in the Bible that Israel is his chosen people. So I'm just waiting to see, you know, what's going to happen next. I mean, I do believe Israel's going to come out on top. I just don't know how far it's going to get there.
Yeah.
As far as peace, um, I don't know that we will find total peace on this earth until, God comes back again. But I would just like to see the peace that we had before all of this stuff started happening.
Yeah.
The wars, everybody fighting against everybody. I mean, when I was growing up, we didn't lock our doors. We wasn't afraid. Somebody's going to come in and rob us or attack us. And we were friendly with the police officers, and neighbors helped neighbors. And that's the kind of peace I would like to see on this earth again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before God comes back.
Yeah, that would be nice. So everyone out there has a perception of you. You got your family, you got your friends, your coworkers, the readers of your books, but ultimately you lead your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I am a better person today than I was, say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I have never had that much confidence in myself growing up. I don't know. I don't know why. I was, you look in the mirror at yourself, it's like, oh, my face is too round or too straight, or my hair is too straight. But I I see myself being a confident adult woman now with a bestseller book, because this book was bestseller, I think a day and a half after I published it. And so, I mean, whether or not I write any more books, I mean, I'm proud of the place I am at in my life right now. And that's all, and I have to give God the praise, for that,
Yeah.
because, he has given me, the strength, the passion to write books, that I've needed.
So Debbie, if anyone wants to get your books, if they want to reach out to you, learn more about you, where's the best place to go?
My books are on Amazon and every online bookstore. You can find it at walmart.com, target.com, booksamillion.com, Barnes and Noble, and it's also in chapters in Canada. And you can also check out my website, debbieadams.biz, biz. And if anyone wants to email me personally, my personal email is debbieandbud@icloud.com.
Excellent. Debbie, thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with the next book and everything else.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.